Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about how we booked the cheapest balcony cabin on a Disney ship.
Yeah, we did book the cheapest cabin because we wanted to go on Disney. We wanted to experience what their veranda was like, and we kind of looked at the prices online before we decided, and then we got in there to book it on Disney, and like it seemed like with every click the price would go up. Like every page you went to was like, well, here's this and this, and so we got into it, and it was a little bit more than we thought it was going to end up being. So we were like, well, let's just back out of this, and we'll go with the cheapest balcony one, which was a little bit cheaper, and we'll just see how that is, because we weren't really sure. We'd never been on Disney before, and we really didn't want to spend a ton of money on this without knowing if we'd like it. And so this is what we did. So let's just tell you what we got.
Yeah, and one of the reasons for that is because we're just two adults traveling without small children. Our children are in their 20s, so we were just traveling, just the two of us, and we weren't sure what we were going to think of Disney, so we thought, let's just do a little chunk by just doing a shorter cruise. And so let's get into it.
Yeah, so we sailed on a Disney Dream out of Florida, and we were in room 5188, which is category 07A. And that was the cheapest room. It is a deluxe Oceanview stateroom with Navigator's Veranda. And interestingly to us, it was in the aft of the ship, so we were looking right out the back. And we've always thought those are always more expensive. So we thought, well, it's the cheapest room. It's looking out the back. We've always wanted to do that. So kind of a no-brainer, right?
It seemed like a no-brainer, yeah. And this was we ended up on a 3-night cruise, like I said earlier, to try this out. And how much did we pay for this, though?
All in with everything, taxes and all that, we paid $1,939, which was pretty expensive for we had booked 9 cruises for this year, right around then, and that was pretty much the most expensive one. Even more expensive than our 15-night transatlantic on the Carnival Venezia, which we only paid, well, less than that by a little bit. So yeah, that was kind of a big chunk to bite off. So we did that, but we really also wanted to sail every single cruise line to see what that was like. So we went ahead and did it. And our thoughts of it, what did we think of getting that?
Well, first thing is the size of the room was actually really good. In comparison to any other cruise line that we've been on, the size of the room was just about the same.
Yeah.
Which was really good. You still have, so on this particular Disney ship, on the Disney Dream, the bathroom is split up into 2. You got a nice big closet. You have, a nice big sleeping area. You've got that curtain you can pull across in between it and the couch area. And then you've got your veranda out there.
What did you think of the bathroom being split like that?
Well, I loved it. Okay. I thought it was really nice because you had a sink with the commode, and you also had a sink with the shower. So we could both brush our teeth at the same time, or, I felt like it was nice to be able to it was almost like having 2 bathrooms, sort of.
Yeah, I thought that was very good. Mm-hmm. Second thing we really loved about this room is that the balcony was very private. And we weren't sure what this would be like, but we went out, and the room next to you, I don't think it had a balcony.
No, it was an Oceanview. It's like a big family room. It's a pretty big size room, but it doesn't have a balcony. It was an Oceanview, which we could see once we got off the ship. You can kind of see. So there was never going to be anybody outside on one side, and then on the other side, the wall is completely extended, so you're never looking at your neighbor. I mean, you'd have to really peek out and around in order to see, which I would not recommend, to see into each other's balcony. So that was really quite nice.
I think the reason these rooms have been discounted, though, is because a lot of people complained when they were paying full price for these rooms that the balconies kind of have a curve to them, and not a curve in a bigger way, a curve in this balcony is smaller than it should be. Because on the right-hand side of our room, the balcony came to a point, basically, and there was kind of like a bar that you couldn't, do anything with. So I think people were complaining about that, and they really just reduced the price because of that. Even though they're aft balconies, that really wasn't an issue at all for us. Though we loved that because so many balconies we've been on this year, it's like on the side of the ship. You're just looking through the crack at the person, or people. I mean, how many times have you been sitting on a balcony and someone has just leaned their head over and stared right at us?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, but people
I don't
do
know
it.
why people do that.
People do that all the time.
Yeah, this balcony, this veranda was basically like a triangle, but on its side. So the wide part of it, as you walk out, you're in the wide part of it, and then just to the right is where it narrows considerably. But there was a full-size bench that we could both enjoy on the balcony, as well as a table out there too. Plus it was just, again, it was so nice that it was private, and you could see out the back. It was kind of fun.
Yeah. And it was, seeing out the back was probably the best part of it for us. We've always wanted to do that and never just thought it was worth spending the extra money for an aft balcony. But there were a couple things that we really didn't enjoy about this cheaper room. And that was, the first thing was you are in the back, which you know going in, and you know pretty much the engines are going to be back there. And this room rumbled terribly, like the worst we've ever seen.
I felt like I was in one of those old Tom and Jerry cartoons where they're vibrating off the bed. Whenever we were pulling into port, we knew exactly when we were pulling into port.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just if we were just sailing, it was no problem. But when we were pulling into port and they're, moving everything around, I don't know what all the parts are, but they're moving everything around, the thing just rumbled so badly that you felt like you were you really were actually, you were physically shaking in the bed.
Yeah, and these ships get to port pretty early. Like they say you're getting off at 7, but that means they're getting there at 5. So you're up at 5 because it's like you're in a washing machine. It feels like. And yeah, we were up every day at 5, so we weren't getting much sleep, and that was not
Not
good.
that fun.
Not that good. There was another negative to this room that we did not anticipate, and we just didn't like very much, was that because the room was in the very back, on the ship we were on, which was the Disney Dream, there would be people, like there was a place, I don't know where it was because we couldn't see it, but there was definitely a place below us where the crew was kind of hanging out, and they would be smoking, and that smoke would just come right up, come into our balcony, and just kind of sit there. And many times we just had to go inside because the smoke was just like, I just don't want to deal with this right now.
It was only on port days when the
days.
ship was stationary, so it was never when you're at sea. I think they just where they, the ropes that they tie with, that door opens down there where they eject those from and pull them back in, and the crew kind of takes that as a little break time and sit back there and smoke and stuff, which is, fine. But if we're not smokers and we don't care for the smell of smoke, especially if you're just on vacation, sitting on your veranda of your cabin that you paid a lot of money for, it wasn't super pleasant to, on those days I'm sitting out there enjoying some time reading, before I get off the ship, and I had to come back inside because it was like, ugh, like it was very intense. It must have been at least a couple of people smoking or more because it was quite a lot coming up.
Yeah, so I think for those reasons we've decided we probably should have booked the more expensive cabin. But, it was hard because it was already coming in at $1,900 for 3 nights, and do you really want to spend a couple $100 more on top of that? Answer was yes, we should have, and we should have just bypassed that. But, this was one of the older ships. If you're on a brand new ship, maybe the rumbling won't be as bad. Sometimes you never know. You just never know. That's a gamble you're taking. But that is why we generally do try to book in the front of the ship. It's generally more quiet, and it's definitely a smoother ride most of the time. Yeah,
middle to the front is usually feels a little bit more stable anyways to us.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then another thing too about this room is also it wasn't that far down from all the kids areas. So there was always, if you're going to your room, you're going to run into, parents picking up and dropping off little people in the kids areas down there. So that's, obviously something else to keep in mind if you're in our situation, which was traveling with no kids.
Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, we wished we'd done something different, but we did save the money. So, hey, that's good. We could put that towards another cruise and be happy about that.
Yeah, but we're a little bit tentative because now you're thinking, well, we really wanted to do that aft cabin, but now we're thinking like, ooh, will it be rumbling like that if we do that on another ship, even if it's another brand? So now I'm a little bit nervous about ever trying to book one of those aft cabins again.
Aft cabin is a
Maybe
gamble.
you could tell us in the comments down below if you've done an aft cabin on a different cruise line, how you liked it, if you thought it was really rumbly. But we were on the MSC Seascape, and I think quite a few people that were in those aft cabins were complaining about that as well. So in the comment section, I remember in that video, and so maybe it is all the ships. I don't know, but we'll definitely think twice before doing an aft cabin again, right?
Yeah. Now we want to do one at the front. So.
Yes. We'll see what that one's like. So hopefully this helps you guys out if you're trying to make a decision on booking one of those. This is kind of, obviously our opinion and our feelings and what our experience was in this particular cabin. Hopefully that helps you out as you're making your decision. And if you have any questions, leave those down below in the comments, guys. We'll see you next time.